Hi everyone. So today we're going to talk about basic guidelines on how to be just happier, how to be a happier person, what you can do to be happier, and what that looks like. But before we begin, I just want to remind you to click on the subscribe button and or the notification bell so that you can know anytime a new video comes out that talks about life coaching, wellness, relationships, and nutrition. Okay, let's begin. So the first thing that you need to realize about how to be happier, and this is so core, is that to be happy, realize that happiness comes from within you. You are responsible for your happiness. No one or no thing external to you is to blame for or creates or ruins your happiness. Of course, if we have external circumstances that aren't ideal, it will influence our happiness levels, but in the long run, it's really about you being committed to your own happiness and realize that you are the one in charge, because life will always present you with hiccups and with reasons to not be happy. It's just part of the contrast of life that there will always be good and bad things in our life. So it's really up to you to create that happiness and to realize that it's not external to you. Okay, number two, having strong, close relationships. And long-term ones. You know, it's not good enough to have close relationships that last a year or a season, although sometimes those are wonderful and they work well for certain life circumstances. But really having, several very close people in your life that are there to support you, that are there for you, to motivate you, people that you look up to, people that you can trust, is so imperative to being happy, because it makes you feel supported and loved. So really having long-term strong relationships and knowing the value of long-term strong relationships, whether that's creating it with family members or in your friendships, hopefully in both, as well as eventually with a serious partner. Having all of those relationships are some of the core of being a happy person. This one is, not something we always think of, but fresh air. You need fresh air, fresh oxygen, air that's not stagnant every day, even if it's just opening your window and cleaning your room, or in your office, going out for a 10-minute walk on your lunch break, getting some fresh air and sunshine. Really, making it a daily practice will change the way you feel, both on an emotional and a cellular level. And next, exercise. I know, some of us might think this is a given, but studies do show that both for fighting anxiety and depression, that exercise is one of the strongest promoters of well-being and anti-anxiety and depressants. The next one is invest in something that you're good at and do it often. Sometimes we put parts of ourselves aside or we shove them into a corner, but if there is something that you're really good at, it's important that it's an intricate part of your life, because when you do something that you're good at, you feel good about yourself. You feel like you're contributing in a more positive way, and you also have other people looking at you in a different way, and you feel effective. And so it's, although sometimes it might be great to do things that we're not good at so that we can learn, so that we can try new things, it is important to have a space for something that you're good at that you do often. Eat good, wholesome, real food. You would be surprised how much eating, unprocessed foods, natural foods, foods that don't come in packages, foods that don't have added sugars, salt, or unnecessary oils will feel in your body. They will give you energy, they will make you feel good, and they will make you feel healthy. So if you want to be a happier person, you need to have a holistic approach that not only includes emotional tactics, but physical ones too, like what we're mentioning. Okay, always allow space for all of your emotions in your life. There are times in our life where we will not allow ourselves to get angry, where we won't let ourselves get sad, where we won't laugh. Having a full range of emotions within your everyday life is so important. Sometimes we find ourselves in job situations or relationships that don't allow us to express all of our feelings and emotions and thoughts. And this can be really unhealthy in the long term, because not only are you unable to express yourself, but you become disconnect with what you really want and what you're really feeling. So learning to be able to express anger when it comes up in constructive ways, whether that's communicating it verbally, whether that's just coming to terms and allowing yourself to feel that anger, whether that's saying something that might be strongly worded once in a while, but allowing those emotions, crying when you need to cry, laughing out loud, externalizing those emotions are so important for you to have a happy and complete life. In that vein, practice smiling. Especially for those of us that are more serious by nature, even if it's just you meet a new person, smile at them. If you're sitting with someone and they've got a long face, begin to smile at them. You bring the mood up in the room. Notice when your face is down. Notice if your emotions are feeling down. What facial expression are you doing? Try to just smile and see if that automatically changes your mood by physically bringing that smile into your presence. The next thing is, I want you to remember that happiness is in the details. It's in the small pleasures, and small pleasures on a daily level in your life are very important to your happiness. So whether it's baking that cupcake recipe that you always want to try, or going and practicing a magic trick, whether it's just spending some quality time by yourself doing what you want to do and not having to do anything for anyone else for half an hour, but small little pleasures really make life sweet and can make the difference between being happy and unhappy. Happiness doesn't have to be something extravagant, and it doesn't have to be in the big goals. It can be in the smaller, finer things. The next thing is bring your entire self to your life. If you find that you're leading a life where you have to turn important parts of yourself off, let's say that you work in finance because you found that that's how you make the best money, but you're an artist at heart, you went to artist school, or you took artistry classes, or you painted when you were younger, and now you haven't picked up a paintbrush in a couple of years, really try and find a lifestyle that allows you to bring it all to the table. And it doesn't mean that you have to have a majority percentage of your time allocated to everything. Maybe that art will only be 10% of your life. But don't give up the things that make you passionate and that make your heart sing and that make you feel alive, because that is who you are. And if you're not in contact with that, you might start forgetting who you are. You might start feeling like you're dying a little bit inside, and you won't be as happy. Accept yourself for who you are. Sometimes we think we should be somebody different than we are. We think we should be bigger, we think we should be stronger, we think we should have more degrees, we think we should have more money, and we judge ourselves and we compare ourselves to others. And instead, I want to invite you to really love yourself for who you are. That doesn't mean that you don't want to have goals or you don't want to look to other people's achievements for inspiration, but don't beat yourself up with other people's achievements, because the truth of the matter is, you don't really know what's going on inside their households. Looks can be deceiving, and you don't know, but there's someone else who's looking at you thinking that you have the perfect life. So definitely don't judge from the exterior, and accept yourself for who you are. Don't push off your dreams. Sometimes it takes, big life events, wars, pandemics, a divorce, for us to ask ourselves what's really important to us. God forbid, a life illness. And I just want to encourage you to ask yourself that question more often, and to push your life in the direction of what your dreams are. Even if you have children to feed, and even if you have certain limitations, even if you're starting to introduce your dream in a very small way, you will feel like you're living the life that you want to live and not have regrets. Because regrets can definitely come in the way of our happiness. Having this bigger meaning picture to our life is foundational to happiness. catch when your self-awareness spirals into complaining. Sometimes it's necessary to complain to get things off of your chest, to notice when something's bothering you. Totally valid. As I said earlier, bring all of your feelings to the table. But if you start feeling like the emotion that you're bringing to the table is heavy, it's weighing you down, it's something that feels almost unbearable, you feel like you're going on and complain about something you can't change, I want to encourage you to, question whether complaining, undue complaining is really necessary, because complaining in the long run doesn't really bring you happiness. Constructive change, constructively looking at the things that bother you and trying to find ways to change it can. And sometimes you need to complain a little to figure out what that is. But don't get stuck there, is what I'm advocating for. Make yourself important in your life. We sometimes make others a priority. We're empathic towards others. We let other people convince ourselves that we're not good enough. And the main reason is because we do not make a conscious decision to be the most important person in our own lives. Of course, I'm not advocating for you to become selfish or narcissistic, and but what I am advocating for is that you are at least as important as the most important people to you in your life, so that you really start, knowing that, okay, I'm here for myself. I don't put that burden on anyone else, and I make myself important. Next is, after you give yourself this love, really share love with others. Give love, because by giving love, you will feel happier and feel, just more balanced inside. Next tip, happiness is a choice. You need to wake up in the morning and just say, today I choose to be happy. Have you ever tried that? Have you ever woken up one morning and said, today I'm making the choice to be happy? Try it sometime. You'll notice yourself slipping out of it very quickly if it's not something that you've conscientiously created for yourself. But once you start noticing, when you slip out of it, you will slowly and gradually learn how to slip into happiness more often as a conscious choice. Slip into the emotion of it, of the feeling of it, of the actions that bring to it. Choose to be a happy person. And by doing this, also focus on the things that make you happy. You know what makes you happy. Spend a significant portion of your day focusing on those things. Whenever you can, bring yourself back to those things that make you happy. And finally, last of all, we started talking about this earlier, don't compare yourself to others. Particularly today when we've got social media and people are bombarding us, whether it's TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and people do try to put their best foot forward. People do want other people to be envious. People do want to do something that makes them feel self-assured. So they aren't going to present their entire packet. People aren't usually putting their dirt online, putting videos of when they're fighting, talking about, the worst aspects of their life. And so for that reason, really be wary of thinking that everybody else has a better life than you. They're vacationing more, they're thinner than you, they're more beautiful. Don't fall for that. Instead, just look at these things for inspiration and realize that you are whole and complete just as you are. So I want to encourage you to go ahead and put some of your tips for being happier, for creating happiness in your life in the comments section, so that we can all share our happiness tips with each other and create a wonderful community. Wishing you many blessings and, of course, a happy day.